of Black people love Paramore because I was one of those people. There's a huge community out there that really like Paramore because
The band?
Paramore, yeah,
I rock with,
um,
yeah, Haley
yeah,
Williams. She is
yeah,
the band effectively, but yeah, I like that.
Great
exactly. But
vocals.
there was a whole troop on Twitter that really was called Black people love Paramore, and we found our own little alt community, our own little niche, and
I
people
didn't know
went
that
to the
was.
show. They're like, "Oh, I'm part of that." Yeah.
See, again, that's just little in-house tribes like that. I'd kind of classify as that like the Black rocker community because that's
Mhm.
yeah. I listen to Paramore. I didn't know if there was like a whole section like a fandom
Oh
around
yeah,
it. But
there's a
yeah,
huge
Black
fandom.
he's a dope musician.
That's interesting.
Huge fandom.
Yeah. And I think also when we look at, I love history. I'm a history geek. Back in the day, anybody that became famous that was black was adored. Anyone the machine put up there, whether they were racist also themselves against our own people, no matter what they thought or what they did, we were just so happy to see ourselves in
Mhm.
lights and in some sort of position of fame and finance that it didn't matter because we knew even getting to that point was so difficult. Thank goodness one of us got there. And that lasted for a very, very long time. As the things changed, there's a lot of famous black people, a lot of black people with money, right? We don't want
Mhm.
to say that they don't push that, but there's a lot of black people with money and fame and this and that. It's not as special, and it's a little bit more than just, oh, you made it. What are you doing for the culture? What are you doing for the community? This and that. It's different now to some degree, but I think because generations back had that kind of like, we've made it, you made a lot of money, you're good, we need to adore you. We need to cut that because it is leading us down a dark path. And maybe not for us so much because we're allegedly a little older and wiser, but because the kids are still, oh, you have a bunch of money, I want to be like you. Oh, people are giving you a lot of attention, i.e., fame. You're famous, you're popular. Because you're famous, because you're popular, what you do is valid automatically. Automatically. And that could be very dangerous.
I agree with that to a point, but like you said, times have changed. I think the general consensus now is survival rather than looking towards those who made it. Because one, we already know that.
Well, but Corey, we've always been in
It's
general, we've always
survival.
been a
Yeah,
thing of survival.
yeah,
It
that's true.
has,
But
mhm.
I feel as though now with everything being higher priced than everyone, like you said, where's my next meal going to come from, or where am I going to live? Everyone is kind of making their own money right now. Like I can go on YouTube just showing off my collection, and I can make millions of dollars, or I can go on Twitch and just talk for 9 hours and make money. I feel as though there's a lot more criteria to make to get to that level. Like you're saying, we revere these people, but now just to get into the circle of conversation, that that mountain's a lot steeper to climb.
I think we're on the same page. Let me say it
Yeah,
back and see if we agree. My point of
yeah,
saying is
yeah,
that
we
at
are.
this point, we need to change the narrative. As long as I'm making money and as long as I'm famous, I'm a
Yeah,
good person. People need to be like me. People need to put me up. And as a community, we exalt these people. It has to be more than that. We need more than that. So that because having more than that, being more than that, leaves us open to help children, to inspire them, and also to connect with each other. If we're all trying to be the most popular person in the room and we're all trying to be narcissistic And the only people we exalt are narcissistic. We're never going to focus our energy as a community. We're never going to connect with each other. And we're also definitely not going to inspire youth to want to be of anything of substance and not just say a quick thing or do a quick dance or, I got a trophy. Yay, you can play sports. Good for you. What are you doing for us as a community? Really take care of each other.
I guess what I was saying is a little bit different than that. I feel
Mm-hmm.
as though right now we're more individualistic. We aren't really looking towards anybody. Everyone wants to do their own thing because that's why I said survival making it is really hard. That mountain is a lot harder to climb. But there are other avenues. Like if I want to again go on YouTube or Twitch, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to do that. But no one's really trying to look at that person like, oh, this person is good. I want to do exactly what they did to, get to that status. Everyone is going to, well, I feel like everyone is trying to make their own little niche in the world, and it's become more of a competition. I feel like. Does that
Mm.
make more sense? There isn't a community aspect anymore. It's more individualistic. How am I going to get to the level that I want? And everyone's competing against everyone else to try to make it.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Funny enough, I feel that that has been a consistent problem. The only thing that has changed has been technology and the amount of people that are able to be in the limelight at the same time. But that has been the same. That's part of the problem because even if you listen to things 20, 30, 50 years ago, when more and more sports players, more and more singers, more and more writers, producers, things in the arts, more and more people in the limelight, and more business men and women also being able to have opportunities to do stuff. It's the problem has always been narcissism. Well, I made it, my friends made it, my family made it. Screw everybody else. There's always been very wealthy people of black people in this country, going back 300 years, 400 years. And we don't even talk about that in history. There's always been those that were either passing or were that first crop of black people that made a bunch of money. They weren't enslaved, but their children were, or the next generation of people that came to work. They're like, all right, you can be free and do your thing, but these people, they're going to be slaves. So there were always people of money that, we call them the bourgeoisie, the the very successful black folk that had money for, decades, but they didn't reach back. And that's always been a problem. That's always been a contention between the have and the have nots.
Yeah.
But how do we break down those walls? Drew, what are you thinking? Your eyebrows is like, they're humming.
I'm just taking it off.
They're humming like,
Um, not to sound like a broken record, we're all tribes. Live and let.
mm,
Stop worshiping your celebrities. Stop this hero celebrity worship, and that's it. That's really all I got on that.
Good talk, guys.
It actually was, yeah.
no, it's good. It's
That was a
good.
good one. Yeah.
No, it's good. It's a lot of food for thought and like where we're gonna go and what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it. It's nothing that could be solved overnight. I mean, I was listening to someone the other day, and they said one of the biggest problems in how we view even Africa. We view Africa as this one big country where everybody looks the same, acts the same, thinks the same, feels the same. And no, that's not how it. People have history. People have experiences. They have different ways of looking at things. There's hundreds of tribes. Even when you break down all the countries, even though they were manipulated and carved up, and that's a whole nother conversation. But
Yeah, for a different show. But
totally different show.
even
But-
there, you had again. It was a matter of differing groups. We're all the same, but we differ in whatever way. We all aren't going to agree on every topic. There
Just
is
not
no
going to
one
happen.
Texas all. We're not going to form like Voltron. It's the idea that we all live and let. We
Mm-hmm.
occupy this region together. We live in it together. We coexist together. And those who can't do their own thing.
Yeah.
It's that simple. This
Mm-hmm.
need to have this obsession with needing everyone to be a monolith is wild. It needs to stop.
Right. And it's not going to happen. And if it was magically to happen, it's going to happen because it magically happens. You can't force it. You know,
And again, to clarify, because I know there might be people in the comments coming for me or whatever. My thing is, every culture, every color, every creed of person does this on the planet. This isn't me specifically just talking about black folks. You have Europeans that don't get along because one set of them is blonde versus the other redhead.
mm-hmm.
Okay, you had a whole war, multiple wars have been fought strictly on that premise. They're also Caucasoid, but we are also going to war against them. It's a thing that just humans do. Black folks to think that we're different, we're somehow going to like form up and just be one unit is it's a no-go.
Right.
To take it a step further, I feel like just because you're from Europe or you're from Africa is not really the consensus. They really look towards like, oh, are you from Germany or are you from Morocco? Are you from the Caribbean? Like, you do find likeness in the similarities, if that makes sense, because this takes me back to a situation that I actually found hilarious. There was a woman from Morocco who came over here, and there were a group of black women who were like, "Oh, she's light skinned. She can't be one of us." And she's like, "I'm from Morocco. I'm blacker than all of them, right?" And so when she found another Moroccan, they instantly clicked because they share that culture, and that kind of set the divide. So I
That's
don't think
not
it's
the
like a
norm.
monolith
It's
though.
not. Those two Moroccan women. It's just as likely they could have met up and had nothing in common and wanted nothing to do with each other, despite the fact that they are both from Morocco.
That's true.
That's an extant example, dude. Sorry.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're
I
saying, but
mean, it could
No, that's
happen,
fair. That's fair.
but it's like that's one instance of it. Not everyone who's Morocco you're Moroccan too. Like,
Right.
come on. No.
and then you go deeper and be like, I don't like the way you talk to people. Well, I don't like the way and then but humans
also
tend
saying-
to do that, and that's just that's a thing of safety. Just something familiar feels
Yeah,
safe.
familiarity, sure. That's
You
that's
know-
that's fine enough. Oh, you speak the language that I speak. That's cool.
Right.
You have that connection, but united at the hip, we are one. No.
It's actually a thing of survival. That's a natural thing in survival. Anything that seems to be strange or off, you tend to want to like, hey, what's going on over there? I mean, you see it even when going to some music festivals. I want to keep mentioning certain ones. I'm not trying to promote them, Drew. But you go and you're like, oh, hey, oh, you like that? Oh, you see the T-shirt? Oh, I like that band. You have that moment, But does it go any further than that? It can. It could not.
But no, fun fact: the last metal show that I went to, right? The last dark metal band I saw, I'm there. And there was this other girl there, black girl, tall, right, 5'10", cute. She looks at me like she just spotted a Martian. Like she gave me the "What are you doing here?" look.
Oh wow!
And despite the fact that we're both probably from LA, she looked like she was she was like a resident, like she was a local.
Right.
But the vibe was, it's like, oh, we're both together. I was just kind of like, and she just gave me the, like, what are you, like I had a third eye. What are you doing here? So.
Wow.
Just again, a little extant examples. Same culture, sure, but that's just how that one went.
So I do need to leave things on
A positive note.
well, not necessarily a positive note, but from food for thought.
Negative.
So even though, because I don't think we've said anything so far that was just negative, just perspectives and just something to think about, right? But solidarity is important, Drew. To your point, live and let live, right? I think that we need to don't look at solidarity in this way of we think the same, we act the same, because even Voltron, if we use the Voltron example, you had the red lion, the yellow lion, they each spoke.
They're still regimented. It's still segregated. To
Right,
an extent.
but it's right, because and
Almost
even
do
watching the
it.
cartoon, this one would, hey, let's do this. Hey, let's do. Listen, guys, this is what you would have all that. So I think it's important that we don't look at solidarity in this one little hole. We can work with each other. We can respect each other, look out for each other, and still have our own mind, and still look out for your own personal interests as long as it's not impeding on others. We can still take care of each other because it is important, especially with all the things going on, for us to look out for each other and take care of each other. You know, but to think that we're gonna walk the same and talk the same, like that's not gonna
That's
happen.
some real Cyberman stuff that I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm not with. I think
Yeah.
be kind, be considerate to each other, but it's walking all as one entity just sounds like very, just very, very just of the Borg.
So you're not with the there's only one race, the human race. You're not with that movement, I guess.
Who, me? Or just
Yeah.
you just threw it out?
No, we're all of
Yeah.
the human race. The problem is we have our own interests. We're self-consumed. I'm sorry.
Right. Like how, instead of saying, oh, I'm from this or I have this background, everyone is human, right? We're all the same species.
Sure, yeah, that, at the core of it, yes. But at the same time, we're all very self-interested creatures, and we're going to regiment to whoever is like us. That's the human problem, as I call it.
Mm-hmm.
We're all
Yeah.
human, but we all want to be doing our own thing because we're self-interested.
And I think that I think, Corey, that comes first. I mean, it's logical. It makes sense. Also, I mean, if you're into history and biology, you realize we all came from one place. We're all connected. We're all related anyway. It's not really, it is what it is. It is what it is. That is a scientific fact that we're all connected.
We're all of the human ilk, but the problem with that is that we're all kind of scuzzy in our need to just survive.
Right. And then also, to be fair too, if you have a bunch of energy, I'll say it that way, that's against your existence, and there's a bunch of other people that energy is against their existence, it's just logical that these individuals work together to protect themselves.
Yeah, mutual self-interest. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It all made sense,
So I'll leave that right there.
It's like the idea is the code of conduct should then be: look, we're all in this trying to survive, so let's
Right.
make this circumstances as easy and as amicable as we can.
Right.
It's not you should think like this because we all should just be one and agree. Like,
Right.
nah, that ain't the way. That's tyranny.
Not happening. Not happening. Not
That I
happening.
say fight against tyranny. But yeah,
Do you think we're going through any tyranny right now?
there's tyranny going on somewhere everywhere, man. It just depends on where you look. In America, it depends, and there's very
That was a
levels
great
of
sidestep.
tyranny. Yeah, like actively people getting tormented and living in agony. I think what other people's life circumstance in certain parts of the world is way different than us as three Americans
Mm-hmm.
sitting here talking on the internet. So
And have the freedom to be able to not have
whatever
it.
extent, because there's still we got to watch what we say because we're PG-13, so there's levels of control even there. But
Right.
yeah.
Right. There's interesting. People are very happy going into this new year and this new administration, and then there are also individuals that were crying and depressed. And I think that's normal, right? Every time there's a changing of the guard, if your gal or your guy didn't win, you feel some kind of way. But would you say this new regime, would you say it's any different than any years before, or you think it's pretty much the same? If
I
you're
say it's different on the account that we've been here before, and so that's the notion. What was that?
You're talking about like the recent, like the presidential election, the recent one. Is that what you mean?
correct.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like we've been through this already, 4 years of it, and so people are like, we have to go through 4 more years of it that we've already been through that we haven't learned our lesson from. I think that's the general idea and consistency.
Yeah, same clown show, different season. Yeah, I think this is just it's politics is why I don't talk this with you typically, Seven. It's because it's the same theater and drama stuff that we saw in high school and college, just with the debate team. It's the same crap. That's why I don't care. I typically don't care because the debate team they were a bunch of little snooty know-it-alls that wanted to sit around and talk about the world and not change things either, and that's what we watch see happen every day. So the idea is it's just a continuation of that same crabapple crap clown show. And difference is just you and I and Corey, we just pay higher taxes and food, cost $18.99 for 3 chicken strips or whatever. And it's like
That's about right.
it's like we rock with it and we acclimate and we power on. But it's yeah, I agree with Corey. It's the same thing in that regard. It's the same crap.
And these are the same people that we are putting in office and in charge of like making these decisions. Like you're saying, this is why everything costs $18.99. So.
Well, that was the last guard. That's why I say on both sides, whether you're Republican, Democrat, it's all part of the same clown troupe. It would have been bad either way. That's why, again, I don't really care. But it's the angle of every person that goes in, when you have this changing of the guard, as Seven said, I look at the next person that they pick and be like, don't make it worse. It already kind of sucks, so don't make it any worse. I'd have said that to side A as I do to side B. Don't make it worse.
I do find it fascinating, and people probably hear me say this tons of times, whether during a show or off a show, probably going to keep repeating, how every time there's an election, people, to your point, Drew, go back to high school and college in the sense that they have a team and they root for that team, no matter what that team does, no matter how bad that team is playing, no matter how many times they foul, no matter how many times like they just, you know what I mean? And you can't say, even if you say, hey, if he just dribbled and don't you say anything about my team, like, but he's not doing too well.
Yeah. It's that mindset of, again, looking to the sports fans. When the team that they like is playing, you notice how the language becomes, it's we're going to the championship, we got points. I'm like, dude, are you on the team? All right, so where's this we crap coming from? Are you in the locker room right now with them? No, all right, then it's them. They're doing their thing. When you get these armchair coaches, they should have dribbled faster. They should have, I'm like, dude, because it would have been just that easy, huh? I'm not even a sports guy, but I'm like, because it's just that easy to just dribble a little better and shoot a little more accurate, right, Bob?
Right.
So it's that I guess that sense of possession. You like that team, you favor that team, so you in your mind's eye, you're one of them. It's that us versus them mentality. Same thing applies to politics.
It's also the likeness. Like I identify with this team, or the people who are on it, or whatever their message is. I think it's just tribe again, like you were saying.
And that's the marketing, and the marketing has been great over the last umpteenth years, where they really got it down to a science. To we're about this, but this big umbrella that anyone could kind of form it into. It's crafted in such a way where it becomes just two teams. Versus we think this and we think that, which leaves room open for, well, I think this, so I'm another team that wants to play. Well, I think this. Well, there's another team and they don't, stay in line with their beliefs, and it gets a little messy, and then it gets messy with these two teams, and then you have all these.
Let's take it to the gladiatorial thing, like we were saying before. When the Romans had the gladiatorial games, I'm sure there was a trend to where you had certain characters, certain fighters, right, who were favored among the crowd. They had a look, they had a gimmick, they had a side that they represented, they had colors that they maybe like rocked in battle, right? And then you had the other team. So when you had two or the other competitor, so when you had two guys who were known, it became this kind of like crowd fervor between the sides who favored Maximus versus the side of people who favored Glavius. It's like it's that same dynamic, that human dynamic that we carry in sports. It's in our music. It's in our politics. There's this really weird need to rally around colors, I guess primary colors,
Right.
and I guess whoever the crowd rallies is like the favorite among them. That's just what we do. It's a thing.
Mm. Well, you said something I thought that was brilliant. You know,
Really?
the
You know
side
we're lost.
chair. Say it again.
Oh, we're lost if you think that what I say is brilliant, homie. Jeez.
Yeah, you said something about these armchair coaches, these couch
Oh,
coaches.
armchair coaches.
Yeah.
And we all do it. I mean, when we're watching. I mean, to joke. I'll be watching King and Ashura. It's an anime. It's a fighting anime.
Mhm.
Okay, and you got the commentators. But we'll be watching with the homies, making our own commentary.
Mm.
Right? It's like we do. We're not fighters. We go into one of these matches and probably get murdered. But the idea is, when you're in the spirit of it, there's what you would do, or you seeing yourself as an athlete. I guess in this case, fighter. What
Right.
you would do versus what the guy that you're watching does.
Mm.
So it's a normal enough thing.
Right. Well,
Why'd you punch instead of kick?
Yeah, you should uppercut it, homie. But yeah, because you would have done better, Drew. No.
no.
But I'm gonna sit up here and say it anyway because we're in the heat of the moment.
Yeah. We need to, as citizens, stop being these armchair coaches and get in the game and hold individuals accountable for the decisions they make, for the decisions they don't make. We need to do that. At some point, we can't just, all right, I'm living my life. I'm gonna here's all this power. I'm hiring you, have this position, go. Because people in these positions have to stop thinking of themselves as being in these positions of power. No, you're in a position to serve the community. You're in a position to serve society. You're in a position of service, period, not in a position of power.
I agree. That should be it. But we can talk about how the world should be versus how it is. When you have
Yeah.
people that put themselves in those positions, we pick people according to who puts themselves out there the most in most
Right.
cases, rather
Right.
than who's the most skilled.
Right.
So the idea of it is, if we just go for every person who can just charm a room for a few minutes at a time
Right.
and wear a suit and maybe look like, like someone who lives of a certain lifestyle, trying to erect them as your next leader,
Mm-hmm.
your grand savior, your next Neo is not smart. Because now that's a hotbed for lots of sociopaths that like to go into those circles, and lots of people that are looking for power,
Right.
like you just said, Seven.
Mm-hmm.
So again, be wary of that. If you think that this person might be onto something, cool, but don't just be ready to just hand them over, like you said, Seven, all the power
Right.
just because they
Here.
look say a
Here,
certain.
make my life better. Like, no.
Here you go. You're leading us now. Like, no.
There's a lot of people who are like, I don't want to get in the game. I got good seats. I can see everything.
Oh yeah, I can see the whole
And-
shebang.
And on that note, we'll end here. I want to thank you, Corey. Am I able to use full names or no?
Yeah, of course.
I don't care. Yeah.
Oh, Corey Davis, Andrew
It's on the
Harrel.
screen. It's going to be
That
there.
it is
Yeah, I know
true.
you guys can already tell this thing. I'm already. Yeah, sorry.
I want to thank you guys very much because we all have different minds, different perspectives, and we're just talking. And this is great. This is great. I'm Michael. Michael, thank you. Whoever, this is part 3, so you could go find part 1 of talking. You can find part 2. This is part 3. Very interesting conversations. I'm definitely gonna think about the different things that you guys said, and hopefully that stretched my mind. And I think that's what these things can do as well. Entertain, like some of the other stuff we talk about and do, but we definitely have to start thinking, especially because we're at this age that we're living in where technology might start thinking for us. So,
Kind of already is, but yeah.
so there you go.
Algorithm.
Bang! All right, folks, have a good one, and we're out of here.
For a freestyle talk, that was pretty good.
Figure it out. We typically can make it work if you pick a pinpoint and then